how did Newton discover the law of gravitation, since it's almost impossible to see any force between small masses? Very good question. So, when was Newton born? When was he alive? You can look it up. I don't remember the dates. So, here's the deal. When Newton was a student, at that time, certain information about the movements of planets and stars was available. Some aspects of the laws of nature were understood. For example, from the experiments of Galileo Galilei in Italy, in Pisa, and so on, we knew that we knew that gravitation exists, and we knew about the law of inertia. We knew that masses fall at the same speed, and so on. So inertia was known, the falling of masses towards the attraction, the force of attraction, the gravitational force was kind of known at least. And Kepler's laws of planetary motion were known. 3 laws of planetary motion. So Kepler used data that was acquired by his by Tycho Brahe. It is believed that Tycho Brahe got this data from India. But anyway, that's a different story. So Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion were known. The way planets, move around the sun in elliptical orbits, and the way they move, and so on. All of that. So this information was available by the time Newton started thinking about what became the Newtonian law of gravitation, right? So it is said, maybe it's apocryphal or whatever, that he was sitting under an apple tree and an apple fell on his head, and then he had this brilliant flash of inspiration. We don't know if that really happened or not, but what the insight that Newton got was that the falling of objects like apples on the earth it could be governed by the same laws that govern the movements of planets and stars in the skies. So Newton came up with the first unification of forces. Okay, the laws that govern the movements of the celestial objects are the same laws that govern the falling of objects on earth. And at that time, it was known that the further a light source moves away from you, the dimmer it gets. I think everyone knows that. But it follows an inverse square law. So the intensity is proportional to the inverse square of the distance between you and that light source. That was also kind of known. So Newton then applied that to gravitation. That maybe the strength of the gravitational interaction, or the force, is proportional to the inverse of the square of the distance between 2 objects. And that's how he came up with the famous equation F is equal to G, capital G, M1, M2 upon R squared. Okay. And so it was a flash of inspiration, of insight. And he said that if it is true, then you should be able to develop the equations of the Kepler's laws of motion, Kepler's law of planetary motion from this. So he used his theory of fluxions, which is now called calculus, which he had somehow discovered at the time. And he was able to get the 3 laws of motion, Kepler's laws of motion, from his theory of gravitation. So that's kind of the manner in which the discovery of the law of gravitation by Newton happened. It was a flash of insight that he got, but it was also based on the speculation initially that the same laws of motion governed the falling of objects on the earth, that governed the movements of objects in the sky, and so on. So I guess that's how Newton was able to discover the law of gravitation, and then use calculus to prove that this law of gravitation is the basis for the Keplerian laws of planetary motion.